What can we expect? In 2025, in prophecy, reports are surfacing that fears of a 2025 pandemic is rising. Can we trust the fortune tellers, so-called prophets predicting the future, like Vavavanga, Nostradamus, and a lot of YouTube prophets? How can we identify false Christs and false teachers at end times? What will President Donald Trump do day one? These and more in this timely prophecy update by TIBP Media. Kindly like and share this Christ-centered presentation. You can also support this ministry by becoming a patron, sending your donations via PayPal, or being a TIBP member. Report says that the bird flu have mutated. What does this mean and how should we prepare?
Concerning new CDC report on the first severe human case of bird flu in the U.S. Samples taken from a patient in Louisiana show mutations that could make it easier for this virus to spread from person to person. Now, right now, there's no evidence it's been passed along to anyone else, and the CDC says risk to the public remains low. But experts warn a single mutation like this could potentially lead to another pandemic.
Yes, Brian, I really do think it's very likely that we will at some time, it's not a question of if, it's more of a question of when, we will have a bird flu pandemic. As you mentioned, unfortunately, bird flu has, when it does enter humans, has a significant mortality. Probably somewhere between 25 and 50% mortality. So it's going to be quite complicated. Once the virus gains the ability to attach to the human receptor and then go human to human, that's when you're going to have the pandemic. And as I said, I think it's just a matter of time.
The virus may mutate and become more easily transmitted person to person. So the more this virus circulates and specifically co-circulates with human strains, that's going to increase the odds of the virus evolving to more human-to-human transmission. And that of course, could signal another pandemic.
Report says that the bird flu have mutated. What does this mean? And how should we prepare? Jesus says in Matthew 24 that before he returns, the beginning of sorrows will be witnessed by all, and one of these signs are pestilence. There are many predictions coming out for 2025. Baba Vanga, Nostradamus, even the cartoon The Simpsons. Should we fear their predictions? Daniel 2 verse 28. But there is a God in heaven who reveals secrets and what will happen in the future. Baba Vanga was a female mystic in Bulgaria. She lost her eyesight when she was 12 years old. She died August 11, 1996, but she predicted till the year 5079. She may have died many years ago, but her predictions are being trusted by millions up to 2025. Many YouTube prophets are saying in 2025 that the third temple will finally be rebuilt. And now that the Abrahamic temples in Abu Dhabi are standing now, it's just a matter of time till it becomes the headquarters of New World Order. Can we really trust these so-called prophets? We will put their statements under a microscope shortly. Friends, be careful who you follow. Many are wolves in sheep's clothing, but many will also be a sheep in wolves' clothing. For Christians, it's almost 2,000 years since Jesus Christ left this world to return to heaven after completing his mission. But this man's claim otherwise, as he confidently confirms himself as the real Jesus Christ. His name is Walimi Yesu Watongaren.
Ninaamini kabisa huyu ni Yesu, anaponya na anatenda.
It cannot be a full Jesus Christ story if there are no disciples involved. He always is surrounded by 12 men.
Jinsi umeuliza, ni wewe yule Yesu ama ni mwingine? Ni mimi yule Yesu Kristo.
His critics like to remind him that he can't be Jesus Christ while he's married. He says it's because of Revelation 21 verse 9. Then come one of the 7 angels who had 7 bowls full of the 7 plagues, spoke to me saying, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb, saying that it was a permission he got to get married. Revelation 21 verse 9 is not talking about a literal marriage between a man and a woman. It is symbolic representation of Jesus being the bridegroom in his second coming, meeting his symbolic bride, the church. Former Google executive warns that AI researchers are creating God. Mo Gaudat believes that the singularity is coming and that AI poses a serious threat to humanity. I quote, and I suddenly realized this is really scary, Gaudat said. It completely froze me. The reality is, he added, we're creating God, the inevitable birth of a vengeful AI God. Nostradamus was a 16th century French astrologer and physician whose prophecies earned him fame both during and after his lifetime. In the century since his death in 1566, people have credited Nostradamus with predicting pivotal events in history, from the French Revolution to the rise of Adolf Hitler to the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, and even the 2020 C-19 pandemic. According to Nostradamus, the world is to end in the year 3797. We cannot put our trust in these predictions. Why? Because it does not lead where Jesus is, in the most holy place in the sanctuary, and his biblical teachings. Prophecy must provide hope, and hope is in Christ. Christ enumerates the prophetic signs in Matthew 24, but always ends in whosoever endures to the end shall be saved. Prophecy is given to us to prepare and not to scare. Hope in prophecy must be there. President Donald Trump will end transgender lunacy on his day 1 back on the Oval Office, the White House.
And staying in the United States, incoming President Donald Trump says he will end transgender lunacy once he takes office in January. Now, speaking in Phoenix, Arizona on Sunday, Trump vowed to create policies to only recognize 2 genders, male and female. And in an apparent reference to gender-affirming surgery, Donald Trump said that he will end the mutilation of children with a stroke of his pen.
With the stroke of my pen on day 1, we're going to stop the transgender lunacy. And I will sign executive orders to end child sexual mutilation, get transgender out of the military and out of our elementary schools and middle schools and high school. And we will keep men out of women's sports. And that will likewise be done on day 1. Should I do day 1, day 2, or day 3? How about day 1?
I believe that the spotlight will be in enforcing laws about worship. Trump will give evangelicals power they had never had before. There would be a revival of Sunday church attendance. And Pope Francis is so happy because people will be finally embracing the Eucharist. Project 2025 will be in full swing enforcement and will take center stage.
You weren't allowed to use that power, and you're now allowed to use it. I get in there, you're going to be using that power at a level that you've never used it before. It's going to bring back the churchgoer. I mean, you have to see. I don't like the charts when I see charts where they're going in the wrong direction. Ladies and gentlemen, with your help and God's grace, the great revival of America begins on November 5th, 2024.
Isaiah 8 verse 20 says, "To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word," the Bible, "it is because there's no light in them." And the truth is, friends, if you abide in Christ daily, we will not have to live in fear for the future. The biggest question for 2025 is, have you surrendered your life to Christ? Do you prioritize sharing your faith in Christ? Dear friends, I pray that you are encouraged by TIBP Ministries. Is it your desire to face 2025 totally surrender to Jesus and be a co-laborer in God's vineyard? Kindly type your decisions. I will surrender to Jesus. Thank you, dear friends, and may we continue to preach truth found in Bible prophecy.